Thanks for hanging in there. Lunch on a Tuesday, ready to go hit some sun. And I'm ready to play some golf with Scott, who's with me from GSTV. We have a really simple message. I'm going to show a couple of videos because it's Tuesday, we're eating lunch. Much easier to watch videos than listen to me, so we'll get that started right here. You guys are the first ones to see this one, by the way. Thank God they added some brands that are actually in the room. Way to go video team, thank you very much. But really, it's a simple story for GSTV. So those of you, if you used GSTV 5 years ago or Verifone 5 years ago, really GSTV now is about a 2.5-year startup with a 10-year proof of concept. So about 2.5, 3 years ago, Dan Gilbert and Verifone decided, screw the 5,000 stations here, 2,000 stations there, 1,000 over there. Let's aggregate everything. So 2.5 years ago, they aggregated 15,000 gas stations, about 150,000 screens. Currently, we're 23,000 stations, and I think this month, maybe next month, we'll pass 100 million unique viewers a month in the US. 1 in 3 people who fill up their car see GSTV. It's crazy. 205 DMAs. If you live in Portland or New Jersey, we're sorry, you still have to go full serve. But other than that, we got you covered, whether you're a national brand or whether you got 20 or 30 locations. Chances are we're close to you. So the crazy thing, about 2 years ago, we did some research with MasterCard advisors and said, what do people do when they fuel up? What's different about the day you fill up that tank of gas than days you don't? We obviously knew you go into the C-store, you buy single-serve Pepsi, Mountain Dew, energy drink, Slim Jim, Jack Links, take your pick of things you buy in the C-store when you're hungry and on the go. But the number one post-fuel-up destination, QSR and casual dining. Number one by how much? It's ridiculous. People eat 3 times as much QSR and casual dining the day they fill up the car than the days they don't. Your guess is as good as mine, but MasterCard said it was true, so I believe them, right? Now it makes sense. You don't just leave your house, you don't get off your couch, go fill up your car and go home. You're doing something. And it turns out eating is one of those things. And the crazy thing, that's within 3 hours, 3 times within 3 hours. 70% of those people are eating within an hour of the time they fill up. So they're making that decision in the car, at the pump, when they're on the go. And you guys know that. I mean, loyalty is what it is for a lot of you, but for a lot of you, you're doing a lot of linear marketing. You're trying to make that consumer at breakfast, lunch, dinner make that decision. And it is breakfast, lunch, dinner. We see it anywhere between 3 to 5 times. Breakfast is huge. Makes sense. You're on your way to work. You forgot to eat breakfast. You see a nice little egg sandwich on the pump and you get hungry. So we have that advantage. Not only can you guys make them hungry, you can tell them where to go. You can say turn 2 blocks and get a sandwich. And it's all day. We've left out, I don't know if Taco Bell's in here, but we've left out after 8 p.m. Not because our consumers don't eat after 8 p.m. We just decided they might be doing other things after 8 p.m. that we don't want to talk about. So your guess is as good as ours is those numbers. We're happy to show them when it's not in public. But you see it's pretty consistent throughout the day that people fill up, and within an hour of filling up, they grab some food. 3 big things you can do with us, and I'm going to go in reverse order. National scale, we just talked about it. We're almost 100 million unique, and that's going to grow probably to close to 150 million over the next 18 months. We'll probably be close to 35,000 stations and almost 350,000 screens. And the reason for that is if there's any payment people in here, every gas station has to retrofit their pumps to take chip card technology, EMV. And even by this October, which they're supposed to be done, only 40% of the stations will be EMV compliant. So we're gaining about 700 or 1,000 stations every month just from that swap out. We're lucky to have the two big partners who do fuel pumps as our partners for the next 10 years. And so as they're replacing those doors on the pumps, people are checking the box to add advertising. Proven results, case study after case study. I'll show you one in a second. Everyone's got case studies, but happy to even work with you guys on case studies that are relevant for you. So if you're a melt shop and you're, a couple hundred stores, if you're Firehouse Subs, which is a client, and you're a couple hundred stores, Poncheros, which I love, Midwest guys here in the audience, and Scott and myself, so we love Poncheros. 70 stores, we can reach those. 87% of the QSRs are about within 10 miles of one of our stations, so we got you covered. I'm sure there's some rural areas that some of you guys are in that we'll have to stretch that to 15 miles, but we're definitely close. Proven results, again, we'll show you the case studies, and we can target. Distillery, placed, you name it, location sciences, well, I'll find you later. However you want to target your audience, we can do that for you as well. So national scale with hyper targeting. Here's one of those case studies. I think as we've talked about it, that incremental visit cost. So this was 600,000 incremental visits. All I'll tell you is the cost per incremental visit was somewhere between 50 and 75 cents for this brand. So I've seen some of the CPIVs that have been thrown around. We are extremely cost effective. We're right by your stores. We know you can make them hungry throughout the day. You day part breakfast, lunch, dinner. If you're IHOP and Taco Bell, maybe you day part midnight, but we know we're there. This is a place study. Place would say it's somewhere 10 times, almost 10 times better, 9 times better than CPIV and other digital things they've measured. The other big thing that's happened over the last couple of years with GSTV is really a change in what we call the show. So basically we program 1.5 to 2 minutes. We can program down to the individual station level. If you want to do Spanish language, we can do Spanish language. You want to target any multicultural audience, we can target it. We can change the content for you. And we've really gone from what was ESPN, CNN, Bloomberg sort of news to really social media first content that's very snackable. So these are mostly 15-second segments. We can work with you on branded content. We can pretty much do anything you want to do. It's nice to own your own show. And then the ads just seem part of the show. Real quick to finish here, this is our first Super Bowl foray a couple of weeks ago. Happy to know Dooley Tombris and Jeff Benjamin, who's Chief Creative Officer now down at Tombris, down in Knoxville. This is the third year they've tried to co-opt the big thing, as they call it. I guess I got away with putting Super Bowl. Don't show this to anybody. I don't want to get sued. So 2 years ago, they were like, hey, if Moon Pie's got about 400,000 loyal social media fans. It's crazy. Who's had a Moon Pie? It's a rare treat, yes. Treat, it's a strange word. But 2 years ago, they're like, hey, can't afford to do an ad in the big thing, but here's 10 scripts we would have done had we had the money. 2 years ago, they actually produced 2 of those videos and just put them up on social media. This year, the Thursday before the Super Bowl, they put out a tweet that just said, Moon Pie is kind of its own little character on social media. And Moon Pie said, hey, I'm so excited, just heard we've got budgets to do national TV. And the Moon Pie fans went crazy. Everyone assumed it was everything from Puppy Bowl to God knows what. They knew it wasn't actually a Super Bowl ad. Friday morning, they come out and go, hey, heard it's going to be national TV, but only running at gas stations, plan accordingly. So we were part of this stunt. And what you see at the bottom is a map of all the locations you could go to see the Moon Pie ad, the 12 hours during the Super Bowl. And here's the other thing we had to figure out is talking about the show. It was supposed to be a 30-second video turned out to be an 80-second video. So our programming department was really thrilled to try to manufacture 80 seconds into a 4-minute show that includes ads. So luckily our retailers weren't too upset. Here's just a snippet of the ad.
The moon pie child is not enjoying this at all.
Fear not, my delicious child.
It was just a very good moon pie commercial.
So those 80 seconds, mostly the moon pie running around through the Swiss Alps on the beach, you know, the Born Free music playing, and then he finally gets crushed by the marshmallow, which is his enemy. And then obviously Tumbris was actually very clever in using an actual gas station to film the final part of the ad. So very clever. And we love doing this, please. We have our own in-house creative studio that does really 4 things. We do a lot with our retailers. So all the retailers, you see 2-for-1 corn dog when you're filling up, that's us doing that spot. You're welcome. If you see an action tag at the end of sort of just actual video creative that you guys have created yourself that says, you know, Melt Shop 2 blocks down, Dairy Queen 2 blocks down, Burger King 2 blocks down, we do most of those action tags. Pepsi Cola, who's one of our big partners, we actually did an entire 15-second spot for Pepsi last summer, and they had the Pepsi summer caps. That was all done in-house, and one of their most successful ads. Turns out we kind of know what drives C-store and QSR visits, so we're happy to work with you on what works well. Turns out product. Make them hungry, make them thirsty, and turns out they will show up. But the Super Bowl, I mean, for us, I think we had 4 million social impressions all of 2019. So the 12 hours after the Super Bowl, I've already got a tough year to beat in impressions. But we're happy to work with you. We know this platform works. And we know it works for this audience, or we wouldn't have, I don't know what we spent. My team spent something on this to make sure I can get your attention. I assume it was close to the $25,000 the last lunch was, but well worth it. And happy to ask or answer any questions. You kind of see the social media engagement. It was fun for us. Walmart responded to Moon Pie and GSTV, which was fun. And then we got into the sort of the wars with Pop-Tarts and Moon Pie going after each other on social media for a while. But I think Dooley at Tombra said it well. Right place, right time, right message. I'm a 25-year consumer marketer before I hopped the fence to the media side. And it's obviously what we're all trying to do, cost effectively, and we know we can do that for you. And happy to test it any possible level you want to test. The sales guy's looking at me going, wait, not any level, but marketing guy says, I'll do anything. So. And you're in good company, as the video said. 2 years ago, I think 1 or 2 of these logos would have been on the slide, but since the MasterCard research has come out, certainly in the QSR space and the casual dining space, it's quite a huge category for us, and we look forward to working with those we're not currently working with. Look for a LinkedIn message from Mark Young. Emails at the bottom, mark.young@GSTV, but feel free to fire away. We'd love to work with you guys.
Mark, that was great. If I have a little bit of time, anyone have any questions for Mark? Yep, hold on one sec. Adam, you can't tell him what you paid for the presentation because he paid less than you.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I don't know what you paid. I paid 25. Everybody knows that. But they did kick in golf. So, there's that. I had a quick question. I was just thinking, when you go to a pump and you put in your card first,
yes,
then this plays while you're pumping?
Yeah.
Is there any connection between, or can there be any connection between, yes, well, you just told us exactly who you are.
Exactly who you are.
This just changed, the content for me would be different for me than.
Yeah. So there's really 2 or 3 different hardware manufacturers. The biggest part of our network is what we'd call pump activated. So you've put your card in, you've checked which octane you want, and you lift the handle and you start to pump and the show starts. Another good 30-40% of our network it's rolling in a smaller screen, and the minute you activate the pump, it just goes full screen. Can you do a pre-roll, as it were? We're looking at that. And then there's these things called pumps of the future. So both of the two big manufacturers are rolling out now 15-inch by 10-inch screens. So there no longer will be hard buttons for like the octane and all the other enter sort of buttons that you have right now. They'll all be soft. And so once you've chosen what you want to do, that entire screen real estate's going to be there for not just us. I mean, I think, you know, a lot of people to work with. We won't need all of that, that's for sure. So those pumps actually have cameras. And so theoretically, yeah, one-on-one could happen. We've chosen at this point not to do that for obvious privacy reasons. Every station for us is addressable like any home would be. So we use Distillery, MasterCard, a bunch of other third-party data sources to sort of figure out who's most likely coming to that station, but not the individual.
All right.
Sure, if MasterCard paid us enough to, no, I'm just kidding.
All right. So if no one else has anything else, Mark, you've got your team here. I think you referenced.
Yes, Scott Pawlowski, who's sitting here in the front row as well, head of sales.
All right. Very good. And you guys are in for the evening and
We'll be
tomorrow
here.
as well? All right. Great. So if you have questions for these guys, grab them at cocktails tonight or on the activities or at dinner tonight. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks. Thank you, guys.
That was awesome. Yep. Thank you. Big round of applause.